Welcome to Slow Home Studio. Too many people live in badly designed houses, and we want to change that.
It's Monday, July the 11th. We're back from our week-long break, all raring to go. We're going to be talking about a loft in Tribeca. It was remodeled by the architecture firm Local.
And there's three details that we're going to look at specifically today. This is a remodel that has quite a light touch, and there's a subtlety of detail, I would say. The first thing we're going to look at is what the architects have done in the living room. And the living, dining, and kitchen is one big space. And there was this angled wall, which is something fairly typical in older buildings. Not everything is square. So what they did is they came up with a detail that squared that off visually from the living room side and created a bookshelf and a focal point for the room by having a television. And I think this is very interesting because an angled wall would drive me crazy because I've got the type of brain where that just doesn't work for me in the real world. But it's interesting because you look at this and it looks very square and straight, but the depth of the bookshelf changes. So it's shallow here, 6 inches, and then it goes up to standard bookshelf depth of 12 inches, and then they've placed the TV in the center to provide that focal point for the sofa.
That's right, and just if you look on the plan, over here on this side, there's actually the full-depth closet. So it actually goes to a full 2 feet of depth in the back. The second detail that I wanted to talk about here was this piece right there. This is the entrance into the unit, and this little piece of millwork, it's just a little bit of storage, low storage unit with a mirror, is I think really critical in defining this as a space. And we can see it here. We've got the little unit that I was talking about. There, we've got the mirror, and it extends out past the end of that wall just a little bit to help define that space, and also so that you can see it from the back side. And I think that's a really nice detail. It gives you a bit of a shelf there that you can put something on and get you around that corner.
Yeah, it's what we talk about in terms of registration. It just allows you to read that as entry just a little bit more. And then the last detail that we're going to look at is in the kitchen. Now they have a semi-enclosed U-shaped kitchen, and it's interesting what they did with the eating bar, because this is on the dining room side. They have the storage, which typically is where you would put bar stools, and they've reversed that in this condition. So the bar stools are located on the kitchen side, and the reason why they did that is because they have a view, if you were to sit here, out through the windows, through the loft and out through the windows, as opposed to sitting the other way and looking back into the interior part of the kitchen.
Yeah, I think it's a very clever way of thinking about reading what this space is like. If we look at this in plan, it's really long, as you say. If you were sitting there, you really feel like you've got your back to the world, and it's not particularly pleasant, and you're not really looking at anything. If you sit here, there's still enough room to move because of the dimensions and geometry of the kitchen, but now you're looking out. We can see that there, and then our final shot right there.
So there you have it, some interesting details from the New York-based architecture firm Local.
See you tomorrow.
If you're interested in learning more about the principles of slow home design, you can pick up a copy of our book entitled What's Wrong with This House? It's a practical guide to finding a well-designed and sustainable home. It's available for sale on the Slow Home Studio website. It's also available for sale at Amazon.com in both paperback and the Kindle format.